New information first reported by CNN and confirmed by CBS News could mean more legal trouble for former President Donald Trump. He was recorded talking about a classified document that he kept after leaving the White House. Dozens of papers marked classified were seized from his home in Florida last year. For more on this, we want to bring in CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge. Catherine, good morning.
Good morning, Nancy and Anne-Marie. CBS News understands that the audio tape is now part of the special counsel's criminal investigation, and in recent months, it has been the focus of grand jury testimony here in Washington.
Two sources familiar with the matter tell CBS News the audio tape is from a meeting 2 years ago at former President Trump's New Jersey golf club, more than a year before federal investigators searched his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida and seized records marked classified. The existence of the tape was first reported by CNN. Two sources say the recording captures Trump acknowledging there are national security restrictions on the Pentagon memo that detailed potential plans to attack Iran. One source said that Trump stated he should have declassified the record before leaving the White House, apparently contradicting recent claims at a CNN town hall.
I have no classified documents. And by the way, they become automatically declassified when I took them.
In his autobiography, Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, appears to describe the New Jersey meeting, where Trump recalls a 4-page report that contained a plan to attack Iran, deploying massive numbers of troops.
He possessed the classified document, and he had the intent to possess that.
Scott Frederickson is a former federal prosecutor.
This is a huge piece of evidence for the special counsel. It'll be highly influential in the decision of whether or not to indict the former president. And certainly, if there were to be a trial, this would be mighty powerful evidence, a tape recording of the president himself.
Also in an interview on CNN, Trump's attorney Jim Trusty did not dispute the facts of the recording, but accused the Justice Department and FBI of a, quote, leak campaign. The special counsel's office declined to comment, but we understand there are indications that his investigation into Trump's handling of classified materials may be in its final stages. Anne-Marie, Nancy.
So much to unpack here. Catherine, has Trump's legal team responded to this recording? What kind of legal trouble potentially could this put him in?
Well, when you look at the criminal statutes when it comes to classified information, some of them don't require any intent. It's simply possessing national defense information. So this Pentagon memo would clearly fall into that category, though typically in these investigations, prosecutors like to have evidence of intent or willfulness, that the individual took that record and they understood that it was a record that was national security related and that it should have been protected. So you can make the argument that this audio tape would help further strengthen a prosecutor's case.
So I have questions about this meeting, right? It's in New Jersey. It's about, a book deal, I guess. But were there other people in the room? And do we know if the former president, was aware of the fact that he was being recorded?
Based on my reporting, it is very common when the former president participates in a book that he likes to have audio recordings of those conversations. I don't know if it's for fact-checking reasons or for his personal use in the future. My understanding is that this was being recorded as part of the research for Mark Meadows' book. What I would also say in this case is that we're aware of at least 3 other people who were at that meeting, and one of the questions is whether any of them had a security clearance that was sufficient to have access to the information. It's not clear from the recording whether former President Trump physically had the record with him or he was simply describing it or alluding to it with the group. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether the information is just discussed verbally or whether it's on a piece of paper. It still maintains that classified designation.
Wow. Catherine Herridge, thank you very much.
You're welcome.